The story of the cast of Happy Days returning to the spotlight after 50 years is both touching and complicated. For many fans, the show represents a warm and simple time in television history. It told stories about friendship, family, and growing up, and it made viewers feel comfortable every week. When news spread that several cast members would appear together again in 2025 at a fan convention in Pittsburgh, people were excited to see their favorite stars reunited. On April 5th, 2025, four of the show's main actors sat together on stage to talk about their memories. The audience saw Henry Winkler, Ron Howard, Anson Williams, and Don Most sharing stories and laughing about their time on the famous sitcom. The mood appeared friendly and nostalgic, as if the decades had passed quickly and the cast members had simply come back together after a short break. However, many fans quickly noticed that one familiar face was missing from the stage. That absence reminded people that the history of the show includes more than cheerful memories. Over the years, there have been disagreements, lawsuits, personal struggles, and political differences among some of the actors. Because of those events, the reunion felt a little more complicated than it first appeared. Behind the smiles and jokes was a long story about how a beloved television show changed the lives of the people who worked on it. The reunion became a moment not only for celebration, but also for reflection. It reminded fans that even the happiest television memories can come from complicated real-life relationships. The journey that eventually led to this reunion began many years before the show first appeared on television. The creator of the series, Gary Marshall, had an unusual idea when he developed the program. During the early 1970s, many television executives worried that modern shows would quickly look outdated as fashion and culture changed. Marshall believed the solution was to set a story in the past. Instead of showing current life in the 1970s, he decided to tell stories about teenagers in the 1950s. By placing the series in a nostalgic time period, he created a world that already felt finished and familiar. This idea helped the show avoid becoming outdated too quickly. The series finally premiered on January 15, 1974, and audiences quickly connected with its simple charm. The story centered on the Cunningham family, especially their teenage son Richie and his friends. One of those friends was a cool motorcycle rider named Arthur Fonzie Fonzarelli. At first, the character was only meant to appear occasionally, but viewers loved him so much that he quickly became the most popular part of the show. The combination of humor, friendship, and nostalgic music helped the series grow into a major success. Over time, the show ran for 11 seasons and produced 255 episodes, becoming one of the most recognizable sitcoms in television history. The success of the show proved that Marshall's idea had been correct. By looking back at an earlier era, he created a series that felt timeless. Decades later, many fans still remember the show with affection, which is why reunions like the one in 2025 attract so much attention and excitement. One of the biggest reasons for the show's popularity was the unforgettable character Fonzie, played by Henry Winkler. Interestingly, Winkler almost did not get the role at all. When he first arrived in Los Angeles to audition for the show, he was nervous and unsure about his chances. The character only had a few lines in the audition script, which made it difficult for him to show his abilities. Still, something unexpected happened during the audition. Winkler decided to add his own small moment to the scene. The script asked the character to comb his hair in front of a mirror, but Winkler stopped halfway through and simply smoothed his hair with his hand, acting as if it already looked perfect. That small gesture showed the character's confidence and attitude, and the producers immediately noticed it. The decision helped define the personality of Fonzie, who became known for his calm confidence and cool style. As the series continued, the character grew even more popular. Fans copied his leather jacket, his thumbs-up gesture, and his famous catchphrases. Soon, he became one of the most recognizable figures in television culture. His popularity even changed the structure of the show. What began as a story mainly about Richie Cunningham slowly turned into a series where Fonzie was often the center of attention. This change created some tension behind the scenes because the show's original lead actor was Ron Howard. Although the shift in focus was sometimes difficult, Howard and Winkler developed a strong friendship and supported each other during the show's run. Their partnership helped keep the series successful during its most popular years. As the show became more successful, Its influence spread across television. During the late 1970s, the series reached the top of the ratings and became one of the most watched programs in America. At one point, nearly one-third of all television households in the country were watching the show each week. The popularity of the series also led to several spin-off programs that expanded its world. One of the most successful was Laverne and Shirley, which followed two friends who had first appeared on the original show. Another spin-off, Mork and Mindy, introduced audiences to a young comedian named Robin Williams. These shows helped build a television universe that reached millions of viewers each week. Yet even during its most successful period, the series faced moments of controversy. One famous episode showed Fonzie jumping over a shark while water skiing. Although the stunt was meant to be exciting, many viewers later felt it was a sign that the show was trying too hard to remain dramatic. Over time, the moment became so famous that the phrase "jump the shark" began to describe any television series that had passed its creative peak. Even so, the show continued for several more years before ending in 1984. The legacy of the series remained strong because it shaped an entire generation's idea of classic American television. While audiences enjoyed the show on screen, life behind the scenes was not always as cheerful. Over the years, some of the actors experienced disagreements and conflicts that stayed hidden from the public for a long time. For example, Marion Ross, who played the loving Mother Marion Cunningham, later revealed that her early working relationship with her on-screen husband was sometimes tense. She said that the actor who played her husband occasionally spoke harshly to her during the early seasons. Although their relationship eventually improved, the experience showed that even actors portraying a happy family could face personal difficulties at work. Another challenge appeared many years later when several cast members filed a lawsuit against the studio over merchandising profits. The actors believed they had not received fair payments for products that used their images, including slot machines, lunchboxes, and DVDs. The lawsuit revealed how valuable the brand of the show had become long after it ended. Eventually, the case was settled privately, but the situation reminded everyone that business disagreements can affect even the closest television families. These conflicts were rarely visible to viewers at the time, but they became part of the long story surrounding the show and its cast members. Politics later created another division among the actors. In 2020, several members of the cast reunited online to support a political fundraiser. The event was organized to encourage voter participation during the presidential election. Some of the actors supported the effort and were happy to participate, but one former cast member strongly disagreed with the event and criticized it publicly. His comments created tension within the group and led to arguments on social media. For fans who had always seen the cast as a close family, the disagreement was surprising. Some actors responded with disappointment, while others tried to keep the peace by reminding everyone that people can have different opinions. The situation showed how difficult it can be for friendships to survive when politics enters the conversation. Even though many of the actors had worked together for years, their personal beliefs sometimes placed them on opposite sides of public debates. As a result, certain reunions became more complicated because not every cast member wanted to participate in the same events. Another sad chapter in the history of the show came with the death of Erin Moran, who played Joni Cunningham. Moran had once been one of the most recognizable young stars on television, but life after the show was difficult for her. In April 2017, she was found dead in Indiana at the age of 56. Early rumors on the internet suggested that drugs might have caused her death, but medical authorities later confirmed that she had died from complications related to throat cancer. The news shocked fans and saddened her former co-stars. Many of them shared emotional messages, remembering her kindness and talent. Some of the actors even gathered privately to honor her memory and support each other. Her death reminded everyone that fame can fade quickly and that the lives of television stars do not always remain glamorous after their shows end. By the time the 50th anniversary of the series arrived, decades had passed since the show first aired. In 2024 and 2025, several cast members appeared together again at public events to celebrate the milestone. The reunion in Pittsburgh brought four of the most recognizable stars back to the same stage. They spoke about their experiences, joked about old memories, and thanked the fans who had supported them for so many years. Although one cast member was missing because of past disagreements, the overall mood was warm and reflective for many viewers. The reunion served as a reminder of how important the show had been to television history. It also showed that time can soften many old conflicts. After half a century, the cast members were able to look back at their shared experiences with gratitude, even with the complicated stories behind it. The legacy of Happy Days continues to bring people together, proving that a simple sitcom about friendship and family can leave a lasting mark on generations of fans. The reunion of the cast in Pittsburgh in April 2025 also reminded fans how much time had passed since the show first brought them together. For many people who attended the convention, seeing the actors in person felt like stepping back into television history. The panel featured several of the series' most beloved stars, including Henry Winkler, Ron Howard, Anson Williams, and Don Most. Each of them played a key role in the success of Happy Days, and together they helped create one of the most memorable television shows of the 20th century. During the event, they shared stories about filming the series, their friendships, and the lessons they learned during those years. The audience listened closely as they described what it felt like to become famous almost overnight in the 1970s. They spoke about working long hours on the set and about how the cast slowly grew into a close group of friends. The panel also included many humorous moments. Winkler joked about the famous jukebox in Arnold's Drive-In, and Howard teased him about the character of Fonzie always being the coolest person in the room. For fans and the audience, these small moments were exciting because they brought back memories of watching the show when they were younger. The conversation showed that the actors still respected and appreciated each other after so many years. Even though life had taken them in different directions, their shared experiences on the show continued to connect them. The reunion felt like a celebration not only of the series, but also the friendships that grew from it. One of the reasons a reunion was so meaningful was the incredible success the show had achieved during its original run. When the series first premiered in 1974, few people expected it to become a cultural phenomenon. Yet, within a few years, it had turned into one of the most watched programs on television. The show's nostalgic setting in the 1950s gave audiences a comforting escape from the challenges of modern life. Instead of focusing on complicated social problems, the stories often showed simple moments of friendship, family dinners, school dances, and teenage adventures. This positive atmosphere made the series popular with viewers of all ages. Children enjoyed the humor and the colorful characters, while older viewers appreciated the memories of earlier times. The success of the program also helped launch several major careers. Ron Howard eventually left the show to become one of Hollywood's most respected film directors. Henry Winkler continued acting in both comedy and drama, building a career that lasted decades. The popularity of the show even influenced fashion and culture. Young fans began wearing leather jackets like Fonzie's and copying his confident attitude. For many viewers, the show represented a hopeful image of American life, where problems could be solved through friendship and understanding. This lasting influence is one of the reasons people still gather for reunions today. The actors understand that their work created something special that continues to bring joy to audiences long after the final episode aired. Even though the reunion was mostly positive, the absence of one cast member still attracted attention. Fans quickly noticed that Scott Baio, who played Chachi on the show, was not part of the event. Over the years, Baio had become known for expressing strong political opinions, and those views sometimes differed from the opinions of his former co-stars. Earlier online reunions connected to political events had already created tension within the group. Some actors preferred to stay out of political debates, while others believed it was important to use their public voice to support certain causes. Because of these differences, Baio did not appear at the 2025 convention panel. His absence reminded fans that the relationships between the cast members were not always simple. Although they once worked closely together, the passing years had taken them into different personal and political directions. Still, many of the actors tried to speak respectfully about their former colleague. They emphasized that disagreements do not erase the shared experiences of working on the show. Their careful words showed a desire to keep the reunion focused on positive memories rather than old arguments. For the audience, the situation was a reminder that real life is often more complicated than the stories shown on television. As the panel continued, the actors reflected on how the show had shaped their lives. Ron Howard spoke about beginning the series as a young actor and slowly discovering that he wanted to work behind the camera as a director. After leaving the show, he eventually directed many successful films and became one of the most respected filmmakers in Hollywood. Henry Winkler talked about how the character of Fonzie changed his career forever, although he played many different roles afterward. People around the world still recognize him as the famous motorcycle rider who could fix problems with a simple snap of his fingers. Anson Williams described how working on the series taught him discipline and teamwork, skills that later helped him succeed as a director in television. Don Most shared stories about the close friendships the cast formed during the long hours of filming. Listening to these reflections helped fans understand that the show was more than just a job for the actors. It was an important chapter in their personal histories. Even decades later, they still felt connected by the experiences they shared while making the series. These memories were one of the main reasons the reunion felt so emotional. The actors were not simply celebrating a television show. They were remembering a period of their lives that shaped who they eventually became. The story of the show also includes moments of sadness that remind people how much time has passed. Some members of the original cast are no longer alive, and their absence was quietly felt during the reunion. Fans remembered actors such as Tom Bosley, who played the wise and caring Father Howard Cunningham. Bosley's gentle performance helped make the Cunningham family feel realistic and loving. His character often offered advice to Richie and his friends, giving the show an important sense of warmth and stability. The cast also remembered Erin Moran, whose character Joni grew up in front of the audience during the series. Her passing in 2017 was a painful moment for many fans and cast members alike. During the reunion, the actors spoke with kindness about their former colleagues and the joy they brought to the show. These reflections reminded everyone that the series was created by real people whose lives changed over time. While television characters may stay the same forever on screen, the actors behind them continue to grow older and face the challenges of life. Remembering those who were no longer present added a thoughtful and emotional tone to the gathering. In the end, the reunion of the Happy Days cast served as a powerful reminder of the lasting influence of the show. Even after 50 years, audiences still feel connected to the characters and stories that once filled their living rooms every week. The event in Pittsburgh showed that the actors themselves also appreciate the importance of the series in their lives. They may have experienced disagreements, lawsuits, and political differences over the decades, but they also shared a unique experience that few people in the entertainment industry ever have. Creating a television show that becomes part of popular culture is rare, and the cast understands that their work left a lasting mark on television history. As the panel ended, the actors thanked the audience for continuing to support them after so many years. The applause from the crowd showed that the love for the show had never disappeared. Even though time changes many things, the spirit of friendship and nostalgia that defined the series still brings people together. That is why reunions like this remain so meaningful. They remind everyone that the simple stories told on television can create memories that last for generations. Another reason the reunion attracted so